It is number 10 Notre Dame. They are now an 11.5-point favorite on the road at the number 24 Pitt Panthers. I will add, just as a important personal note, this game freaks the hell out of me every year.
Sure.
It freaks the hell out of me every year. I have a vivid memory of watching this game from Kate's parents' house. This is shortly after we officially became a couple, and shortly after I met the parents and did that thing. 2011.
Yeah.
Back when we were young and full of life.
Yeah.
That was the 15-12 game that Notre Dame won at Pitt.
Yeah.
Tommy Rees game. He threw for 300 yards. But I just remember being in this very weird mental place where on one hand, I am ready to jump out of my skin. On the other, I am self-aware enough to realize that in this moment, if I want this to go well, I cannot act like a psycho.
It's fair.
That was a very interesting push-pull for me. And I still have scar tissue because of it. Notre Dame won that game, but they have lost in the past to Pitt. I see 10.5 on the road at Pitt. That scares me a lot. A lot. I am probably not the most objective voice in this conversation. So why don't you lead us off here? How do you feel about this game?
Pitt coming off a bye. I like that against the biggest opponent on their schedule. And start of a very difficult stretch for Pitt with Georgia Tech and Miami to finish out the season. So I like that Pitt has rest. I like that was the phrase you're looking for, like vim and vigor, when that's when you were young and spirited in 2011. I think Pitt has some of that with a freshman quarterback. There's a lot inconsistent about Pitt. There's a lot that they could do better, but it's the ACC. You can win games lacking in some areas of your roster.
Sure.
It's a lot of points. I think I like Notre Dame here. I think Notre Dame is good enough to take advantage of flaws, and they've taken care of business in a way that, I appreciate when teams are boring strong, and Notre Dame has been boring strong. Like the Boston College game, I guess aside, that was not boring strong. But otherwise,
that was a clunker. Yeah,
that was a clunker. The weather should be fine in Pittsburgh. I looked up my my low pressure systems, and they're fine. I don't love even Pitt playing in a big game at home. I don't love that they don't have a home field advantage. I don't love that, even though they'll get people out for this game. There will be excitement there. It's just not the same if Notre Dame were playing Penn State or Michigan or Ohio State or any. It's just a different environment for a game like this, and so. Yeah. I like Notre Dame here to win this game by a couple touchdowns. My thought was something like 33-20, 35-21. I think it will be competitive back and forth. I think Mason Heinz will make a couple plays that will have Ty questioning whether or not Notre Dame's defense is truly fixed. But
yeah, that happens weekly, by the way.
The problem with Notre Dame is there's enough talent and aggression on this defense to complement a backfield where you can just have Jeremiah Love rush for 88 yards at the drop of a hat, or Jadarian Price just, rip off a 37-yard run where he just has a small lane and he's gone. That has opened things up enough for CJ Carr, who again I think is one of the best dozen quarterbacks or so in the country. I don't know if Notre Dame has winter wonders to compete at the very top of the sport at receiver yet, in the way that they still I think need, but they have good receivers. I just don't think they have killers there yet. But I think those good receivers are good enough to get enough against this Pitt defense if they can protect CJ Carr enough, which I'm sure you'll talk about with Pitt's pass rush. I think the fire of Notre Dame on both sides of the ball over 4 quarters will be too much on the road in good weather, 35-21.
Yeah, I mean, look, you bring up Mason Heinzel. And the move to Mason Heinzel has been the type of thing that has prompted a bunch of emails into solidverbal@gmail.com.
Of course.
Anytime you make a move to a freshman, you never know what you're going to get. But this is a guy who was handpicked from Cade Bell, their offensive coordinator. I went through his recruitment. He got offers from 5 MAC schools, Liberty and Coastal Carolina. He ended up going to Pitt. So Pitt making the move to him was very much, I think, a sign of confidence in Cade Bell as much as it was a vote of no confidence in Eli Holstein.
Right.
They have now won their last 5 games. As you said, they are off, or they were off a week ago, so they're coming off a rest advantage here. This is going to be a test, though, for Mason Heinschel, unlike any I think he has seen so far this season, because this defense is just dramatically better than the others that he's played against. He's going to see a lot of man coverage, about 20% more than average. I am very curious to see what kind of scheme Chris Ash decides to draw up for this one.
Okay.
Because I went through the numbers. Heinschel is way better on the intermediate throws beyond 10 yards and the deeper throws beyond 20. Way better at those than he is at the short stuff. And my theory, and again, this is groundbreaking stuff. You can write this down if you want to, Dan.
Yep.
But my theory is that when he has time to throw downfield, he's really good. But the Pitt line is giving up a lot of pressure, and so I think some of those shorter throws that don't grade out as well are coming under duress. And that's where I think this Notre Dame pass rush is going to play, I think, a leading role. Probably the biggest key to this game.
Yep.
Pitt is mostly a one-dimensional offense. They're not running the ball as well as I thought they might when I did my preseason preview. They're just not. They're a one-dimensional passing team. They are not going to win unless they can get some success through the air, and I think Chris Ash and Notre Dame knows it.
Yeah.
So how they scheme that up, what that looks like, do they try to blitz, do they try to drop back and just make them throw short? I don't know what that scheme looks like, but it feels to me like if you look at the numbers, if you watch Pitt at all this season, it's fairly well telegraphed the type of stuff they're going to do.
Agree.
So I think that's advantage Notre Dame. And the flip side is equally as interesting. How does Pitt try to cover their bases against this Notre Dame offense? Their defense so far this season has gotten a lot of pressure, presumably because they blitz 40% of the time and opponent drops back.
Yep.
But otherwise, it's a very zone-heavy scheme. It is the most zone-heavy defense in all of college football. 85% of the time, they are dropping into some kind of zone. Very stout against the run, which should benefit them well in a game like this.
Agreed.
But I think in order to win, it is some combination of heavy blitzing, disguising your coverage and confusing CJ Carr maybe to force some kind of mistake, and, keying on the run to not be gashed by Jeremiah Love and or Jadarian Price. I think they're good enough to do one of those things. I don't think they're good enough to do all of them.
Right.
And that's sort of where I come down on the Notre Dame side, or why I'm coming down on the Notre Dame side. To me, this looks like a recipe for a big game from Notre Dame's tight end, Eli Raridan.
Okay.
I think Jeremiah Love catching passes out of the backfield is very dangerous. I mean, it's dangerous in general, but it's going to be even more dangerous for Pitt in this game, given the way that they play. I think those are the types of things that end up having a really big impact here. Notre Dame's going to win this game. I'm not laying 11.5 points, though, on the road. I just have far too much scar tissue for that. Something like 31-24 feels about right to me. I don't think the Notre Dame defense is going to hold them down completely. I think Mason Heinschel and Pitt will score. And I think maybe it's a late touchdown. I don't know if it feels 31-24 the full way through, but I have Pitt covering this game.
I think it's a bad move, man. The more I even think about it and hearing you talk about it, Notre Dame's schedule is such where they need to put everything they have into this game, right? So Notre Dame, it's coming off of Navy, which they, just absolutely shocked and awed. I think there's a chance Notre Dame wins this game 52-13.
It's entirely possible. I think, and I was texting with our friend Tim Murray from VSiN.
I think they rip them apart the more I think about it.
Before we hit go.
Yeah.
And I think Tim feels similarly, but he's always telling me, like, follow the point spread. Like, the point spread actually does tell a story, whether you bet or not.
Right.
And I hear you, but there is also the emotional side of me as a fan.
I hear you.
And, we love this sport. We kind of live, breathe, and eat this sport this time of year, the whole year throughout. And I cannot put my emotions on the bench here.
I know it, man. I know it. There is something about like Pitt scripting an amazing first drive, and they're playing with tempo, and they go up 7-0 on a great first drive. And
you can count on that.
You losing your mind,
yeah.
Notre Dame being patient, and I think Pitt's good, but Pitt has played again, the dregs of the ACC to sort of turn this season around. With Mason Heinschel, they made the move, but it's Boston College, a poorly coached Florida State team, obviously an underwhelming one. Syracuse with Ricky Collins. NC State has like a horrendous defense this year, and Stanford. And so I'm holding nothing against Pitt, but I just think who they've beaten to get to this point does not necessarily represent what they are or are not, other than better than those teams.